All right, Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Recha HaKodash. Double honors unto our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do teach and rule well and tell us this 100% truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect. I came out there pushing his word in truth and sincerity. Unto those of you who be likened unto the speckled bird, scattered to the four corners, speaking in different tongues. Unto you we say shalom. All right. This is inspired through the Spirit, man, of course, but inspired by some research I was doing to the small hats. Okay. And when you actually go into the story and narrative that they pushed, you'll come to find out just how easy the the enchantment or the manipulation was to deceive, the whole world, So I'm gonna start with this scripture here, all right, in Psalms 50, because I was looking at some recent articles. This one, of course, laughable, anti, as you see it, is wrong and ungodly. Okay, which, I don't know where they have this concept of Semite, all right, but we can actually go and grab it. Okay, it is a member of any of the peoples who speak or spoke a Semitic language, particularly the Jews and Arabs. Okay, but when we go to, all right, we're not giving you no money, man. It's so funny when these million and billion dollar corporations ask for money. Okay. Semites or Semitic people is a term for an ethnic or cultural racial group. The terminology is now largely unused outside the grouping Semitic languages and linguistics. The first depiction of historical ethnology of the world separated into the biblical sons of Noah, Semites, which Shem, all right, not Sem, all right, Shem, okay, as it says here, first used in the 1700s. This biblical terminology for race was derived from Shem, all right? There are Shemitic people, okay? All right, but what did they do? All right, they turned it into Sem, all right? As they say, a kind of a shorthand manner of Shem, all right? But this was first in the 1700s, man, all right? So as you can see here, any time period before this particular time period, there was no such thing as a Semite. All right, there were Shemitic people. All right, the same way you have here. All right, that there are Hamites and Japhites and Shem, Ham, Japheth. All right, but there was no such individual or peoples as Sem. All right, until this particular time period. All right, and we'll get into a few depictions. All right, because the 6 million, small hat story, all right, was long before World War II. Okay. And here's just a few examples, and I have many more that we're going to get into. All right. Before 1940, you see, if the Nazis should achieve final victory, 6 million, as you see it, are doomed to destruction. All right. So there's 6 million in Europe. Okay, in 1940, the founder and longtime president of the World-ish Congress predicted that 6 million are doomed. All right, here's the original. Okay, here's another one. All right, let's just zoom in here a little bit. Okay, the coming World War would be the annihilation of 6 million, you see? And this was October 1939 in the top right corner from the Jewish Criterion. All right, this is 1939 as well. 6 million helpless in Europe. All right, persecuted Jews seen increase 5 to 6 million. All right, and all at the bottom right hand corner are today the victims of governmental you see, and policies of unchecked propaganda. All right. As you can see here on the left side, all right, the bottom, the new government of Romania has threatened to outlaw 800,000 of these small hats, okay? Because when you go into it further, all right, these small hats had been kicked out of many different countries, all right, because of all of their wickedness, okay? But what did Esau do? All right, once he got hold of the media, all right, they began pushing this narrative, all right? As we see here from Turtle Mountain Star in North Dakota in 1938, 5 or 6 million uprooted by dictatorships and tossed about by economic storms, all right? Here we go again, 1936 from the Gazette in Montreal, okay? The Ish Congress gathers in Geneva. Delegates of 32 nations represent 6 million, as you see it there. Okay. And apparently at that time, which is this goes to show they're not the people as well. Okay. Delegates of 32 countries representing 6 or 7 million of the 15 million Jews in the world. Well, that's impossible because you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you definitely exceed a population of 15 million. You see? So it's all BS, man. You see that, man? You know? Hey, the scripture says they will be as the sand of the... Let's just grab it, man. All right? As the sand of the sea. 15 million don't sound like a lot. Hosea 1 and 10. And we could even get the... Hosea 1 and 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. You see? And what was the promise to Abraham? All right? We will be, man, we will be a great nation. Okay? So how is it, all right, that if this promise was given to Abraham years and years ago, man, that in 1936, there were only 15 million Jews in the whole world. You see, this is how they pushed it, man. This is how they were able to just repeat the same lie over and over again, man. And it becomes the truth. Okay. Let's get some more. 6 million. Now, this was in 1931. All right. 6 million face starvation. Okay, here is the Tulsa Daily World in 1920. While the 3.5 million American Jews were loyally fighting and laboring to help make the world safe for democracy, the Jews of Eastern Europe, where lives the bulk of the world's Jewish population, were being ground out of existence by the ebb and flow of contending armies. They are facing the darkest days ever known in the long history of the race. You see? 1921 begs America to save 6 million in Russia. Ukrainian, when you go into that rat over there that's currently their president, you know, he proudly shows you his Khazarian heritage. All right. At the bottom, this fact that the population of 6 million souls in Ukraine and in Poland have received notice through action and by word that they are going to be completely exterminated. Now, hold on now. So there were only 15 million Jews in 1930. But in 1919, the 6 million were in Ukraine and Poland. What happened to the rest? Right? What about all of these other instances? You know, of those who are fighting in Europe, of those who are, which back then, you know, you do have to understand that the way in which land was measured and looked at, you know, was different, you know. But it's all, you know, different, you know. Well, there's 6 million in Europe. Well, where in Europe, you know? In Romania here, all right, they mentioned 800,000, right? In other ones, they mentioned 800,000. You know, then it actually is a bit more detailed here in Eastern Europe. OK, let me go back to the one I was at. Now, Ukraine and then Poland, you know, which is, again, you know, you could consider that Eastern Europe, if you will. All right. The crucifixion of, you see, these rats. All right. Bigoted lust for ish blood. You see, because they not the real ones, man. All right. 6 million souls will need help. You see, it was a constant kind of, this is the same thing today, man. All right. Back in 1914. All right. The plight of more than 6 million who live within the war zone. Okay. And I have two more. The American Jewish Yearbook in 1912. Russia has since 1890 adopted a deliberate plan to expel or exterminate 6 million of its people for no other reason that they refuse to become members of the Greek Church, but prefer to remain Jews. All right. So, while you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans were in slavery and being indoctrinated into an American lifestyle, this is what was going on. They were pushing the propaganda while you still didn't know how to read, or were learning how to read, or, were being educated in the systems. All right. This is what they were pushing in the establishment. All right. And not you were the people, because remember, okay, going back to the Spaniards, all right, Columbus, who brought over the Hebrew translator, all right, a Hellenized Israelite, okay, they knew, all right, so way back in the 1400s, man, okay, which when you go into the Columbus movie, 1492, he actually says it, Esdras, the son of the Jew, yada, yada, yada. But during this particular time period, hey, you Jakes, especially the early 1900s, hey, we was still, in the muck of the BS. And this is what they were pushing, man. Meanwhile, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, let's take a look at it. All right. Black MP, I wonder what that is. Black population, 1915. Let's see. Well, we know this is not going to be accurate anyway. Okay. See, they don't even show it. You see? Let's see, man. Let's just do 1925 and see. Look at that. Look at this, man. Oh, look at that. That's a spirit. All right. So by the time this war was going on, apparently we were already at 11 million, 11 million, man. So how is it that there was only 15 million so-called Jews at the time? All right. And then you have to add the other tribes. All right. You got 11 million here, because again, we can't be numbered. All right. Anything that Esau pushes out there is, you got to take it with a grain of salt. All right. Even furthermore, Gad, the American Indian, probably increased this number to 1 million. Who's this? Asian Pacific. And we were scattered. What about all of the Israelites that had went through the diaspora over all those hundreds of years? You see, so these numbers clearly already show, all right, more than 15 million of the real Jews, you see, of the real ones, man. All right. So it don't make no damn sense. All of this nonsense they're saying, oh, well, there were 6 million expelled and then sent to the Poles in Siberia. And yeah, you see, well, it goes to show the lies, man. All right. This is where it all started, man. This is where these devils were pushing it. And then, matter of fact, let me go back. Okay, here is, let me see. So some relevant pieces of history to this are the Balfour Declaration in 1917, which outlines at some point, Israel would be created as a home for Jews from Palestine. There's actual other links, upon doing my research, showing Rothschild's connection to the Balfour Declaration. But as we see here, there was already a concerted effort before the 1900s, because, Of course, Esau was, he was buying up all of these, the industrial age, all of that, man, you know, and then he was pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And then, of course, by the time the Balfour Declaration came around, it was already ingrained in people's heads, you know. See that? Holocaust, highlighted there. All right. So yeah, man, it proves it, man. It's beautiful, man. All right. Hey, that's why let's go ahead and grab some scriptures. Okay. Sirach 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death. Because they don't want this information to come out. The same narrative. Oh, 6 million Jews are in, but year after year after year. It was every 1900, 1903, 1903, 1905, 1906, 1914, 19, you see, over and over and over again. All these different, areas and the Criterion and the Gazette and the Evening Independent in Florida and all, you see, all predominantly in America. New York Times, persecuted Jews ain't on the increase, right? Montreal, Canada, all these different places, man. All right, and this proves why beg America. America ain't nothing, Who's America? Well, America is Babylon, man. Let's go ahead and get Isaiah. Okay, what do I want here? Okay, I believe I want 27. Let me see. Bear with me. No, 47, Salakia. I want Isaiah 47. Okay. All right, that's why it also says in Nahum. Okay. Nahum chapter 3:1. Woe to the bloody city. All right, what's that bloody city? America, Babylon. Those small hats. The elites who conjured up these whole, manipulative plans and spirits and all that. Working on that left hand energy. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. All right, this whole system, man. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses, and there is none end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. All right, look at what has been done. Okay, in the name of democracy, Babylon, this great whore. All right, Nahum 3:4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcrafts. And that was who? Chiefly who? Us, man. Touch the apple of the Lord's eye. And then you tie that in with Rev 13 and look at everything else that has been done. Where was I? Isaiah 47. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. All right. The Chaldees, of the Chaldees, the center of moon worship back in Genesis. Right. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind mill, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. And this is part of it, okay? This is part of it, man. All right? What's that? Rev 18. This is part of what... of the image of the system, and how they used that witchcraft and how they were able to manipulate the world. All right, let's see here. Salakia. Hopefully, I don't have. There we go. All right. Let me see. Yeah, definitely Revelations 18, man. All right. Where am I here? Here we go. All right. Rev 18, man. Let's go to it. All right. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen and become the habitations of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right, because those little small hat rats over there that are in our land, all right, bobbing their heads up against the wall in a sexual ritual of penetrating their gods and doing all this other weird BS, man. All right, those ain't the real people, man. All right, but it wasn't done that got them in that place, man. It was the elites, okay, who were able through the power of America, all right, which came through the enslavement of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, when Psalm 73 took place, going back to Christopher Columbus and even before that. All right, because again, even before that, let me grab it. Psalm 73. All right. Oh no, Salakia. Psalms 82. All right. Verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, hold not thy peace and be not still, O power, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. You see? So when you go into history, right, you can then go back further into the Maccabees, the Septuagint, the Levites, meaning Josephus, meaning Alexander the Freak, all right? But when he died, what happened? Wickedness began to increase, all right? And from that, what took place? You had the diaspora, all right? You had the Hellenization period, okay? You had all these different events that took place. And then over time, Psalms 83, was simultaneously, if you will, also taking place, man. All right? Let's continue. Verse 3, Rev 18:3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. You see? So the treaties was being made, Balfour Declaration, the United Nations was then made within 2 years after, or began being constructed 2 years after, that state of Israel was made. So it was all in cahoots, man. All right. Back in Psalms 83, verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. All right. And this is how it happened, even before the 1900s, man. Okay. When them Spaniards came over here ravishing us, man. All right. Working with the Arabs, working with Ishmael. All right, working with Moab, the Hagarenes, the Hamites, the Africans. Oh yeah, I remember when I first came into the truth, it was this guy. All right, he was a so-called African. All right, he said, you black people think it's so funny making African booty scratcher jokes, but we sold y'all to the white man for gunpowder and wine, or gunpowder and money, or something like that. It was something. He said gunpowder and something else. Basically like resources, man. Like we just read. All right. For what? For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies, man. So everybody, after and during, the World War, right? Then treaties began rolling out, United Nations, and then everything from there. It's just been a complete complicit cover-up. All right. Psalms 83, verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, you rats. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. All right. And this exposes it, man. Okay, it wasn't no Semite, right? We go back to Shem, all right? Shemitic people, okay? And even when you go into further, all right, there's another definition, all right? Semitic, Afro-Asiatic people, okay? The Afro-Asiatic languages, also known as Hamito-Semitic or Semito-Hamitic, he's using a whole bunch of BS, man. All right, are a language of family, about 300 languages that are spoken predominantly in the geographic regions of Western Asia, North Africa, the Horn of Africa, and parts of West Africa. And what's that? Our land, just put it plainly, okay? So we know that furthermore, all right, you people aren't Semitic, okay? In the sense of, you don't have any Afro Asiatic relevance, if you will, going back to Cain, that's why you lack that pigment, man. All right, you broke the covenant. So, hey, man, I just wanted to share it through the spirit. I found it yapa, just seeing all of these different articles, even before World War II, going all the way back to the 1900s, man, and how they kept pushing this particular Holocaust. All right. Even in 1903, as we see it here. All right. What a Holocaust, this nonsense, man. All right. I'm reminded of the apostle, elder apostle Ramlab. He threw a lesson title to the up and coming, the young elder Bakar Moth. Man, what was it, man? It was funny because he said, the elder apostle Tahar, he just be throwing me lessons, so I figured I'd throw you one, brother, through the spirit. Oh, the deception runs deep. You see, I think that's what it is. Something along those lines, like last week or something. I can't remember verbatim. But this just shows it. The deception runs deep, The same 6 million are, oh my gosh, And then once they were able to finalize these things, and the Balfour Declaration and everything else, and that's why it makes sense what our elders and apostles say when they were teaching one time in New York, and them fancy, Nimrod tie wearing, pieces of what jumped out of the limousine talking about how the hell did y'all find out? We spent millions and billions of dollars, and this is why. You see, they spent billions trying to hide it, man. Okay, all different newspapers, different news organizations, and remember at this time these were being printed. These are just screenshots now that we have the technology. Imagine how many these were being printed, the factories for paper, all these, man, they spent billions trying to hide it. You see? And this is proof of it. Well, now we see you sure did spend billions trying to hide it, all right, because you were working on it before the 1900s, right? You were working, of course, we know all the way back, to Genesis, then will I kill my, brother Jacob. But we see that it was coming to fruition, essentially through the system, through the image of the beast. This is part of the system. It was just in its early stages. So, hey, man, Lord's will you is edifying. In closing, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors unto our elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, and salutations to the Lord's elect. Until next time, we say shalom.